Welcome to episode 72 of New Hampshire Knits, a knitting podcast coming to you from the gorgeous state of New Hampshire, where our state motto is knit free or die. Today is February 2nd, and I'm your host, Claire. New Hampshire Knits is proudly sponsored by thewoollythistle.com. The Woolly Thistle brings the best of British yarns to us here in the United States and Canada. We're excited to have Croft 29 genuine Hebridean yarn coming to the shop. A limited supply is available in 50 gram and 100 gram balls, and I have a very few 100 gram skeins. This yarn comes from sheep on the Isle of Skye raised by Rachel Varwell. We had Croft 29 in the shop back in 2016, way back in the beginning, and this is the first offering we've had since then. I'm very excited to have this yarn again, and I know that you will love it too. Going up in the shop on Saturday, February 3rd. Let the Woolly Thistle do the international shipping so you don't have to. Hello, how are you? I hope you have had a good couple of weeks since we last spoke. I'm getting on track for the podcast. I actually had a podcast 2 weeks ago and here we are again. It got pretty pushed to the side as the shop was getting busy, but I have enlisted the help of an expert podcast editor, and I'm very happy that it's keeping me on schedule. So that's good. And I hope that you appreciate or hear an improvement in the quality of the recording. I'm trying to get on board with Instagram stories. I feel like I'm left behind because I don't do them very often, and trying to learn how to do them has been quite challenging. Not that it's difficult, it's just that I couldn't get it. But I have got it, and I did a tour of the shop recently, which I hope you enjoyed. And I hope to do more Instagram stories as the mood takes me. Edinburgh Yarn Festival is coming up. I wonder who will be going and if you will be going. I'm so excited that I get to go this year and to be part of the Podcaster Lounge. I want to see what changes have happened since I went in 2016 to see how it's grown and, you know, what it's like now. I'm sure it's going to be brilliant. I'm really excited about the Podcaster Lounge, hosted by Louise of Knit British and sponsored by Blacker Yarns, which of course is one of my favourite lines that I sell here at the Woolly Thistle. Sarah of Fibre Trek and I are going together, and we get in on Thursday, I believe, and we've booked our Airbnb, and we're just super excited. Can't wait. I cannot wait to attack the vendor area and really have a good look around and see all the good stuff that's coming. I know that I want to go to Woolly Originals and get one of her woolly bags. The thistle bag especially would be super duper. Yeah, there's so many vendors that I want to go say hi to. I'd love to meet Queen of Purls. I have stocked her yarn here in the past, and who knows what might come again. But she's going to be vending there, and I'm really happy for her. So I can't wait to go and say hello and give her a big hug. I want to give a shout out to a new podcast that I recently came across called Tightly Spun. It's an audio podcast hosted by Emily, who is on Instagram as ButterflyM4. She used to have an audio podcast, and now she has come out with Tightly Spun. And this is a podcast interviewing everyday knitters. And I just love the concept. It's one of these, I don't know, you know, when something's really a good idea and when somebody comes up with it, you think, yeah, that's obvious, that's brilliant. Well, she's done it. And I've had a listen to quite a few of the episodes that are already up, and she's doing a fantastic job. So I wanted to let you know about that if you hadn't heard about it already. She's on iTunes and Stitcher, and, you know, you can find her. without too much difficulty. So that is tightly spun. So let's get started, shall we? This episode includes on the needles, off the needles, New Hampshire Mitten Cal update, a Coop Cast, the Woolly Thistle update, and then we'll wrap it up. So off the needles, this week I finished the Brunswick beanie for Jay. This is my second Brunswick beanie. This is a free pattern on Instagram, and it's a 1x1 rib beanie with a really quick decreasing crown, and it's a very quick knit, and I love it. I will be knitting more of these. I wanted to knit Jay one, and he really liked the marled yarn that is Birlinn's speckled hen. I love it too. And I had some DK left over from my first batch of yarn from Meg over there at Birlinn Yarn. So yeah, I knitted it up. It used maybe 50 grams or so. And to be honest, he is finding it a little bit itchy. It is Hebridean yarn. So to have it on his forehead there, it is one of our more sensitive spots. I have a vest that I knitted in Birlinn yarn, which is Hebridean, and I don't have any problems with it. But maybe it's not the perfect yarn for a hat. I don't know. I could wear it. But Jay's wearing it. He's learning to... you know what he's doing? He's conditioning himself to wear all the wool. So he is wearing it. He has complained a little bit. And if he keeps complaining, I will probably knit him a little hat liner to go inside there. And that way he will be happy as a clam because he does love it. He loves the look of it. And it's a really nice hat. So... yeah, it's super stretchy. That pattern, because it's a rib, is very stretchy, so it fits all kinds of head sizes. Although she even made it for 4 different sizes, which is nice. And I just love the marled yarn. So I do have plenty of that in stock, not in DK though. I have the 4-ply. All the Birlinn yarn I have in stock right now is 4-ply. Oh, and I love what I did on the cast on row. I cast on with a solid brown Hebridean and then immediately changed over to the speckled hen. And that gives you that lovely line of solid or, you know, contrast color, whatever you decide. And I really like the look of that. So I'm happy I remembered to do that. Okay, off the needles, I also have the Ingeborg slippers from Norse Knits, which is an ebook by Kristin Drysdale, also known as Scandiwork on Instagram. And I did these using, West Yorkshire Spinners Aire Valley DK. I used a skein of grey and one of cream. And I've got plenty left over after finishing those. This is to fit a woman's medium-sized foot, which I believe is between US 6 and 8. And they're lovely. They've got a lovely floral pattern on the front, very Scandinavian. And I finished knitting them and I want to just throw them in the washing machine to felt them up a wee bit. We'll see if that yarn will even felt at all. I'm not sure. West Yorkshire Spinners Aire Valley DK is a DK weight with 75% British wool and 25% nylon. So it's a great sock yarn and it's a great quick sock yarn being a DK. It will not pill. I'm pretty sure it's not going to pill at all. So it's very tough, but it is a very nice soft yarn and it's great for color work. And I have several colors in stock of that now while we're talking about it. I used to only have the grey and the cream and that always sold well. So I decided to include, I've got, I think, 2 reds, a white, a black, a navy, the cardamom colour, which is sort of a grey yellow. Yeah, it's a yellowy colour. And also Penny Royal, which is a lovely mauve, a bright green called Emerald. There's about 9 different colours. I'm sure there's something I've forgotten. So yeah, if you're interested in knitting socks or slippers, check out West Yorkshire Spinners Aire Valley DK and Kristin Drysdale. She has beautiful slipper patterns in her ebook. And Kristin will be joining us as well in the New Hampshire Knits Mitten Cal, which I'll talk more about later. So on the needles right now, back to Kristin. I'm knitting the Elsa slippers. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. ELSE, Elsie, slippers. And again, in West Yorkshire Spinners Aire Valley DK, this time I'm using a red and cream. And this is a larger women's size slipper, so it's interesting to see just in reality what the difference looks like. And this again is a very nice 2-color stranded colorwork pattern. You knit the heel and the bottom of the foot flat, and then you don't pick up stitches, you create stitches and then start working in the round for the rest of the foot. So you knit from the heel to the toe. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost finished the first foot and will be quickly casting on the second one, which is all of 32 stitches or something like that. So it's not a lot of work. Also on the needles is the Siri cardigan by Linnea Oman, and I'm using Brushwork from Blacker. That was their holiday yarn in the Velatura color, which is the blue. And I'm really enjoying knitting this. I think, if I may say so myself, I hit the perfect combination of yarn and pattern. But you can't go wrong with Blacker anyway. And their special birthday yarn last year was Brushwork, which includes Scottish Beaumont, which is a merino type of sheep, as well as alpaca, Murret, Castle Milk Murret, all kinds of these really great heritage breeds are all in this yarn, and it's great for cables. I swatched using some cables in it way back when, and I thought they popped really well, and they're doing texture really well as well. So the Siri cardigan is by Linnea Oman, and she has some lovely patterns, and this is the one where you have diamonds, textured diamonds all around the yoke, and you start at the top and work down. So I have just finished the yoke, and I really enjoyed knitting that. It's a clever pattern, and I think it's quite striking, the result. And then the cardigan is knitted and stockinette for the rest of it, back and forth. I suppose I could join it in the round and knit in the round and steek it. I've not done that so far, but I think you could do that from under the yoke patterning. I mean, it's probably not ideal to start in the middle, but I could. I didn't mind purling back when I was doing the textured stitches. I don't think I'm going to steek it though. I'm trying to condition my mind to enjoying knitting purling stitch. So a cardigan where I purl back every other row, that's good practice, especially when I try to avoid it at all cost. I do think the brushwork would steek okay though, but I would want to experiment on my swatches first. And I'm dead comfortable with steeking at this point, so it's not something I need to do. I think what I need to do, what my knitting needs me to do, is to practice on my purling. And of course, when I knitted English style, or let me say British style, being a Scot, or Scottish style, when I knit with the yarn in my right hand, purling and knitting were all the same. It didn't matter. I didn't really have a preference. I was as fast at one as I am the other, and tension was the same. But since becoming a continental knitter a couple of years ago, which I really do prefer because it is faster and is more... It's less busy with your hands, smaller movements. I keep my left index finger right on the needle with the yarn going over. So I'm not holding my finger way up in the air or wrapping yarn all over it. It's right down on the needle. So I feel like ergonomically, continental knitting is kinder and quieter and quicker. However, purling does require my index finger to do a lot more work than when I'm knitting. And I can do it fine, it's just not preferred. But I think that's because, I do more knitting than I ever do purling. When I knitted my Glenfiddich cardigan recently, that was all cables. And so I knit back and forth because I had as much knitting on every row anyway. But that did get me purling a lot more. And yeah, I think I'm using this Siri cardigan as an exercise in purling continental style. Facing it head on, it's about time. And, I want to be able to knit cardigans and not think about, but I can't stick that in that yarn or whatever. I want to be more flexible than that. So my purling is slower, and I've got to watch the tension of my purling so that it remains consistent with my knit stitches. And that's what I'm working on. Now, the other thing too that I wanted to mention about this Siri pattern is I love it. But once I'd finished the yoke pattern, we then put the arm stitches on waste yarn, and then we cast on a few stitches for the underarm, and we join and we start the body. And I've done a few rows past that, and then I tried the cardigan on, and it's just, maybe my row gauge is tighter than that called for in the pattern. It feels like the armholes are starting too high up under my arms. So my plan this weekend is to frog back to where you put the sleeve stitches on waste yarn. I'm going to put them back on the needle, and I'm just going to knit stockinette stitch for 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, however many more rows. And that will bring me further down the arms top, and the whole yoke will come down further before I then make the sleeves and join under my arms. And I'm hoping that will give me more space for my arms, and that it won't feel like it's all up under in my oxters. And I can't really see any potential problem with that method. I've never done an alteration like that. So if you know that will cause a problem somewhere else, let me know. But I think it's going to be okay. I'm just going to do it so that the whole cardigan joins under my arms a little bit lower than it does right now. Yeah, so I'll be doing that, and then I'll just be back and forth, hating purling. Hopefully not hating purling. No. I still have the Tidal sweater on the needles, and I'm literally just knitting the seed stitch on the bottom, which is instead of ribbing for, getting close to casting off or binding off. And then I'll be picking up those stitches that are waiting for sleeves. And that'll be that. I'm not knitting any socks, and I mourn not having socks knitted. I wear my hand knit socks all the time, but I'm getting kind of bored with my selection. A lot of my socks were knit during my Knit Picks self-striping phase. And so I've got a lot of self-striping, brightly coloured, garish socks that are very vanilla. And not that I don't like vanilla socks, I do still like vanilla socks, but I think I want them to be a bit more subtle in colour and, just, real wool, untreated. Yeah. So actually, I don't mind nylon personally. I'm going to all this trouble to knit the things. I want them to last. Do you remember way back when I knit a pair of socks, not just one sock to see. I knit a whole pair of socks in Jamieson & Smith 2-ply. Yeah. And I remember someone commenting, do you think they'll last? I'm like, I don't know. So I knit my Jamieson & Smith socks, and I loved them. And I think I wore them 3 times before the heels were totally blown out and giant holes in them. And I've never thrown them out. I can't throw my knitting out. I don't understand people who knit socks and then throw them out. So, and I can't really darn them because the holes are gigantic. Now, this is not to knock Jamieson & Smith. Jamieson & Smith is a great, great, great yarn, but it is not a sock yarn. Their 2-ply jumper weight is not a sock yarn. But this is how I learn. I have to do it myself and experience it. So yeah, don't knit socks out of Jamieson & Smith 2-ply. So anyway, enough of that. So I don't have any socks on the needles, and I really would like to get socks on the needles, but I'm finding that even my car knitting is now a sweater. And now that I've got the Siri down to or soon we'll have it down to just back and forth stockinette body knitting, that will probably travel around with me as well. So I'm not really saving space in my knitting time for socks. And perhaps I should, but I've got these sweaters to get off the needles. I am totally fantasizing about knitting either Feather and Fern, I think it is, or the Arboreal sweater by Jen Steingass. Of her Instagram is knit.love.wool. And of course, I want to knit one of those since seeing knitted by the lovely Helene in Plutalopi, and it's just gorgeous. So I am chomping at the bit to cast that on. Jen is having a cal right now and it's on Instagram. Go check out all the beautiful sweaters. She is just so prolific, and every yoke design is more beautiful than the last one. I don't know how she does it. So yeah, I will be casting one of those on. So that's what's on and off the needles for now. Plenty of knitting going on. Okay, let's move on. I want you to mark your calendars for the start of the New Hampshire Mitten Cal. Having said that, I don't have a specific date for you to put in your calendar, but it will be at the end of February. This is our third year having the New Hampshire Knits Mitten Cal. It's a Colorwork Mitten Cal where you have to have a pair of mittens finished. We're going to run it for 6 weeks. Colorwork. There are so many beautiful colorwork mitten designs out there of all stripes, of all variations, from Scandinavian, Selbu, animals, sweary words. There's all kinds of stuff out there, and it all counts, just so long as the mitten is covered in colorwork. I don't want to see just, a cuff or something like that and then plain for the rest. That wouldn't do. I've been getting in touch with designers, and many of our designers are coming back and offering discounts and patterns as prizes for the end of the cal, which is fantastic. And I hope that I'll have more designers to add to the list. You can see who's participating already in the New Hampshire Knits Ravelry group. You'll see there a thread for New Hampshire Knits Colorwork Mitten Cal. And that's a working document right now where I am updating the designers as they get back to me. I'm reaching out to designers who you want to see participate. And of course, like I said, some of our favorites from the last couple of years. You don't have to knit mittens from a designer in the cal. These designers are just being good enough to help make the cal more fun by offering discounts and pattern prizes, but you can knit anyone's design. There is a thread in there where you can tell me who you'd like to see participate though as a designer, and I will certainly reach out to them and see if they want to play. Last year, Patricia, who is P4Chen on Instagram, offered a cast-on prize, and she's doing it again this year. This time she's offered a pair of her mitten blockers as a cast-on prize, which is hugely generous. If you don't know P4Chen, then I don't know why you don't know her. She is one of the most warm, friendly, encouraging and supportive people on Instagram. So definitely go check her out if you haven't found her already. She's the host of the Knitography vlog, and she just does so much for her fellow knitters. I really enjoy knowing Patricia. And lately, she has just announced that she is making to order blockers for the Selbu mitten patterns. And of course, as soon as I saw that, I ordered mine, and I'm sure lots of you have ordered yours. And she now has the Selbu sock blocker as well, which is just gorgeous. And so she's so generously offered a set of the mitten blockers for the mitten cal. So once we have a start date, and once we're all joined in and declared our intention to cast on that date, we will pick a winner. I'll probably do it on Instagram because this is such a nice prize. I want to get as many people knowing about it as possible. And we will have a cast on winner. So we will have a cast on party where one of you will win the blockers, and we will do this on Instagram so that we get as many people involved as we can. I'd love to support Patricia and her blockers because they are fantastic, beautiful, authentic, made with love and made to order. And she's done so much for the knitting community and Selbu mittens in general that it's nice for us to give back to her in this little way. So head over to the New Hampshire Knits Ravelry group for the thread, and you'll find all the details there in the working document that I am updating as time goes by. This is a fun cal. This is our 3rd year, like I said, and many of you will be coming back for your 3rd year. And some of you will be joining in for the first time. It is a fun cal where we are very supportive of each other. We cheer each other on, we exchange ideas, and we help each other out. So this cal is not beyond anyone, even if you're a brand new knitter or Colorwork knitter. You will find support in the group, and we will all come away with our mittens at the end. And some of you might even come away with more than one pair. It's a 6-week-long cal, so plenty of time. Be looking on Ravelry, deciding what you're going to knit and what you're going to knit it with. Perhaps I'll tell you this now. I have a lot of Colorwork yarn available. Of course, Jamieson and Smith 2-ply is such a great classic yarn for Colorwork mittens and Colorwork in general. But, you know, it doesn't have to be 2-ply fingering weight. You could knit DK weight mittens. And of course, the West Yorkshire spinners, Aire Valley DK would be good for that. Blacker Classic would be great. I'm going to have that in 4-ply now, as well as DK in all the colours. That is great Colorwork yarn. Tukuwool is fantastic for Colorwork. They play really well together. And I can't think off the top of my head what else I have in stock. But coming to the shop, brand new, and I'll tell you now because it's pertinent, is Rauma Finullgarn, and that is Colorwork yarn as well. It's a little heavier than, say, Jamieson and Smith 2-ply. It's maybe a heavier fingering, light sport weight, and I'm getting lots of colours in to kick us off. So that will be in the shop very soon, if not already. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to arrive here, but as soon as it does, it'll go in the shop. I'm super excited. Finullgarn from Rauma is from Norway, as is our lovely Patricia, although she's a Texan, but she's more Norwegian than anything these days. And yeah, this is a Norwegian yarn, woolly wool, fantastic for Colorwork, great colours, lots of choice. And I'm really, really excited to be expanding the Woolly Thistles horizons with that yarn. So I hope you will check it out when it's in the shop. And the Instagram hashtag for the New Hampshire Knits Mitten Cal is NHKMittenKAL 2018. So if you're posting your mittens on there or posting your yarn selection and the pattern you're going to knit, use that hashtag and we'll find you. Okay, now it's time for a Coop Cast. We have a very quick chat with the girls and we'll see you on the other side. Girl. No eggs yet. I actually got one earlier and I dropped it. Hi! How are we doing? It's cold out there, isn't it? It's about 11 degrees out this morning. Hello there, Evie. Hi, Evie. Hello there. You're adorable. You freak out when I pet you. You're not. Oh, that's good. Just let me pet her. She's the black one. She's lovely. She's very curious and friendly, but skittish. I know. Hello. Hello. Yeah. That's her talking. Hello. Oh, hello, Evie. Oh, there's Evie. Evie's our oldest chicken now. She's the only one of the originals. And I think she's looking a little bit grey. Her comb's not bright red. Hi. Hi, Evie. And hello, you. This is the Americana coming up to say hi. Yeah. And there's Lewis back there. Hi, Lulu. How you doing, Lewis? You silly girl. Hi, Evelyn. You doing okay? You doing okay, honey? You doing okay? Yeah? Okay. Stay warm. I got a heater going in there. It was about 4 degrees last night, so they had the heater on in there. Alright, well, I'll need to come back and see if they have any eggs for me later. Alright, now it's time for the Woolly Thistle update. As always, the shop is doing great. Thank you so much for your support. I have a huge Blacker order coming in, and it may well be in by the time this airs. That includes all the Samite that I can get my little hands on. St. Kilda is back, and a new batch of St. Kilda is coming through, and I'm really excited about this yarn. You'll remember it from the last time. I think it was maybe this time last year. I'm not sure exactly when we had it, and once it was gone, it was gone. Well, they have a bit more, and I have ordered it, and it's coming over. Like I mentioned before, Blacker Classic DK will be back in stock, or it is in stock now, but it'll be replenished. And for the first time, I'm going to have Blacker Classic 4-ply in all the shades. And I'm doing this because I think the New Hampshire Knits Mitten Cal would enjoy having this yarn in stock. And also, it's just really good yarn. I'm a huge fan of Blacker Classic DK because it's round, honest, strong, yet soft, and it's just a good yarn, and it's economical too. So I want it all in, so it's coming. There's going to be an update including the Swan DK and 4-ply. Mohair is coming back, and as soon as Blacker's finished milling that, they'll be shipping my order out. And guess what? Brushwork is coming back. It's not coming back, but I'm getting more. They have a little bit left over, and they've said, okay, you can have some more, because I have been asking for it, because you've been asking for it. So I'm going to have most of the colors. They're going to give me what they can give me, and I will have that in stock. So be on the lookout for that. I'm kind of pleased about that because I was worried. I only had 8 balls of the Velatura for myself, and I was kind of thinking I was going to have to break into my swatches and play a little bit of yarn chicken, and thinking I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So I was excited to know that I could get more of that yarn so that I can safely knit on and not worry about it. Of course, they only made this yarn once, so all the lots are consistent. There's only one lot of each color, and so if you bought some and you need some more, this will be good to go. Tukuwool is fully stocked, and of course Ysolda came out with her Stockbridge cardigan, which is such a beautiful vanilla cardigan that you know we all need to cast that on. It's going to be a wardrobe classic piece, a wardrobe staple, and she designed it for Tuku fingering. So yeah, that's been kind of flying off the shelves, and I will, by the time this airs, I should have more of that in stock. I still have good stock though, because I stocked up very heartily before that pattern came out. Just serendipitous that came out when it did. So you've been getting your cardigans worth without too much disappointment. I think all the colours have been available to you, and more is coming. So yes, that cardigan will definitely be going on my needles. And that's a yarn you can steek. So that probably would be a yarn that I would knit in the round. Never mind all my chit chat about getting down with the purling. What else? Let's see. Oh, the knitting goddess is coming back, and it'll take a couple of weeks to get here, but I'm going to have lots and lots of her mini rainbow sets. I only had a few when I introduced this yarn to the shop, and they get snapped up first. And I have a long list of people who are wanting that when it comes back in stock. So I have ordered accordingly, and anybody who wants a rainbow mini set should be able to get one, I hope. But also there will be more Brit sock, more One Farm yarn. That was probably her most popular yarn in the shop that I had a good supply of. And it went quickly. It's a great yarn in that it is raised and sheared and milled all within, I think it's like 100 miles of her where she dyes, of her studio, and of course it's dyed there, so it's got a very small footprint. And because you kindly shop with me for it, it comes over in one airplane all at once, and then I can get it to you once it's here. So you're doing your bit for the carbon footprint as well when you shop with the Woolly Thistle. Rama's Finullgarn is coming, and I've talked about that already. That's super exciting. And so now I'm expanding the repertoire from Britain to Finland and Iceland and now Norway. So I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to cast something on using that yarn. I've never knit with it before, so it will be a new experience. Aire yarn is in good supply, and we have lots of that in fingering weight as well as DK. We have a few sets left for the Tales from the Isle of Purbeck shawl kit. Just a couple of sets left in both the Mittens colorway, which is a lovely mid-grey, and in the cream, which is listed as Stone Hips. Coming to the shop and not been here before is Regia 6-ply tweed sock yarn, and that comes in 150 gram balls. So that's sort of like a DK weight yarn, and it's tweedy and it's Regia. So I'm excited to have that coming. And let's see, books and periodicals. Well, you know by now that Len 4 is being released on February 20th. The shop has pre-orders open, so if you would like to secure your copy so that you get it in time and you don't have to race around trying to find it, go to the Woolly Thistle and you can place your pre-order there, and I'll ship it out to you as soon as it comes in from Finland. It looks to be a really beautiful edition. I've seen a couple of photographs, a couple of sneak peeks. Line 4 will be available to you on February 20th, but I have pre-orders open now. So you can go to thewoollythistle.com, place your pre-order, and I will make sure you get your copy as soon as it's available. I'm really excited. This issue has patterns from Helen of Curious Handmade podcast, from B. Mandarines, who is the lovely Melody, and Libby of Truly Myrtle Photos, and she has her podcast from Down Under. So really excited to see those three lovely ladies giving us patterns in this fantastic magazine. So yeah, I've ordered plenty, and I will be ordering more so that we are fully stocked and replenished here at the Woolly Thistle. So go ahead and place your pre-order, and you'll get your copy without having to wait too long. There are still some Shetland Wool Week annuals remaining. That is such a nice annual. That's one of my favourite publications that we offer here. It has so much good stuff about Shetland in it. Even the advertisers in there are new to you and are very interesting, and it's fun to go check them out and see what kind of stuff they're doing right there from Shetland. So this is a really good publication, and I've had some guilds get in touch and order several copies all at once so that they can share it with their friends at the guild. So hello there, thank you for shopping with me. And yeah, lots of people are planning to go to Shetland Wool Week, so it's nice to have this as a little precursor to that. I did get in touch with Edinburgh Yarn Festival to find out if they would be doing their Wool Tribe magazine this year, and they're not, because they're actually working on a book for, I believe, sort of a yarn crawl around Edinburgh and maybe other places too. I'm not sure of all the details, but Wool Tribe had to go on the back burner this year. But I'll ask them to stock the book when their book becomes available. You know I will. Okay, let's see. Kerry Westerman's This Thing of Paper is coming back in. We're in good supply of Nancy Marchant's Tuck Stitches. That's such a nice book, though. And of course, we managed to get a new order of Shetland by Marie Wallen in right as I got down to my last one of my previous order. So we didn't actually sell out before we got the new order. That's a sign of my maturing as a shopkeeper, because usually things run out and I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, we have plenty of Shetland by Marie Wallen. So that's it for the shop update. I do have lots of stuff coming into the shop. I haven't told you all about it because I like to keep some stuff a surprise, but I have told you a fair bit of what's new and what is hot. So thank you for your shopping with me. All right, I think that's all I have for you today. I do just want to read a couple of new iTunes reviews. Thank you so much for those. Let's see. A Thread of Mindfulness on Friday wrote, love this podcast, just charming. Thank you so much. She rated it with 5 stars. And we have this iTunes review from Crash56. She says, a real treat. Claire speaks about her knitting, her farm, her online store, and her family a bit. We learn about the good and the mistakes or sad events, all in very conversational style. Listening to Claire's podcast makes me feel as if I'm sitting across the kitchen table from her. And of course, you'd be knitting, right? We'd both be knitting and eating cake and drinking tea. So thank you so much, Crash56 and A Thread of Mindfulness, for those new iTunes reviews. I appreciate it. Leaving an iTunes review helps the podcast get out there so that people know I exist. So if you are so inclined, please leave one. So I think all that's left to say is, if you go out, take your knitting. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to New Hampshire Knits. You can find the Ravelry group at NH Knits. You can find me on Ravelry as NHK Claire, on Instagram NH_knits, and you can email me at nhknits001@gmail.com. And you can find the Woolly Thistle all over the internet at the Woolly Thistle with 2 L's in Woolly.